Before I introduce our next speaker, I'd just like to ask his evaluator, Kat, to tell us how he will be evaluating.
Mathias is doing project number 2 from the storytelling manual. Let's Get Personal is the name of the project. The objectives of his speech are to learn the elements of a good story and to create and tell an original story based on a personal experience. The time will be 6 to 8 minutes.
Susanna, how will you be timing his 6 to 8 minute speech?
About 5 minutes, I'll put the green light. 6 and 7.
6 to 8 minutes.
Do you prefer it be read on the 7 or the 8?
So 8.
8, 7, 6?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Thanks, Susanna. Mathias comes to us from Stony Creek Toastmasters. He is a software consultant working for clients all over the U.S. and Canada. Mathias rediscovered his love for speaking and recently rejoined Toastmasters. We'd appreciate your feedback, especially critical feedback, to help improve his speaking. Wow. Please help me welcome Mathias Senabulia with Enjoy the Ride. Enjoy the ride.
And then it started raining inside the car. Put your hand up if you've ever been in a bad relationship. Ever been in a relationship? Well, my worst relationship is not what you think. You see, my worst relationship was with a car. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, let me explain. I had just graduated from university. I was in the prime of my life. I had my whole life ahead of me, and I was excited. It was finally time to make my mark on the world. It was also time to purchase my very first car. I had the prospects, I had the education, I had everything I needed, except the money. But I wanted a car so bad. When I was studying so hard for my exams, I said to myself, Mathias, if you finish these exams and you do your best, when you graduate, you will never have to take the bus ever again. I had to keep my promise, right? So I had to find a way to find money for this car. So I went into the bottom of the couch, into my wallet, I went everywhere I could find money. And I came up with a little. Now, nod your head if you've ever purchased a car. So think about what your budget was like. Maybe $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. My budget was $900. Forget a car, I could barely afford a bicycle. But I was determined. So, I went to the used car ads. Started taking a look through the catalog to see here. Oh, too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. Oh, no, that's a bucket of bolts. Too expensive. Aha! I found it. I found a car for exactly $900. Now let me tell you about this car. This car was what is known in automotive circles as a beater. Now, a beater is a car that you purchase in order to save the wear and tear on your real car. It's a car that's often in decrepit mechanical condition, barely acceptable to even be on the road. But I didn't care, I had wheels. Finally, I could go wherever and whenever I wanted. Or so I thought. You see, this car was very special. This car had a mind of her own. My first clue was when I was driving on a bright sunny day, driving to work. It was a beautiful day, the birds were singing, the sun was shining, so I rolled the windows all the way down, turned the music all the way up. There I was, just enjoying my ride, driving to work. I could feel the sun on my skin, feel the wind blowing through my fingers. And then I heard the voice. Hey! I looked around. Okay, there's nobody in the car. Am I hearing voices? I heard it again. Hey! When are you going to fix my squeaky shocks? It's so embarrassing. I pull up to an intersection and all the other cars are laughing at me. Okay, I don't have very much money right now. Don't worry, I'll get to it. I'll get to it, I said. A few days later, I heard the voice again. Hey, Mathias! When are you going to fix my rusty fender? I feel like I'm just falling apart. I'll get to it. Don't worry, I'll find some money, I'll fix it. Don't worry about it. I'll get to it. Over the course of the next few months, my car told me everything that was wrong. Needed oil, needed repair, needed tires, needed all these things. And every time she said something, I just ignored her. I just blew it off. Until one night, it was a dark and stormy night. No, really, it was a dark and stormy night. The rain was coming down in sheets. Ever drive through those storms where you turn on the wiper to full maximum, the wiper's going as fast as it can, and you feel like it's going to fly off the car? So there I am, straining to see the road. The wiper's going, and all of a sudden, bloop. That couldn't have been a drop of water. I focus again on the road. Bloop. It had started raining inside the car. And that wasn't the worst part. I looked down and I saw a 4-inch hole. Rain was spraying up on me. I was livid. I got home, slammed the car door, and I said, "You, car, you're nothing but a bucket of bolts. All I needed you to do was keep me dry. Look at me. I am soaking wet." The car turned. Stood up, looked at me and said, "You have got some nerve talking to me like that. I told you what was wrong. If you had listened to what I told you, you wouldn't be in this situation. This is all your fault." I said, and I walked away. But deep inside, I knew she was telling the truth. I knew she was right. See, I had ignored her request for help. I had ignored taking care of her. And I had taken her for granted. Isn't it true that whenever we put things off, those are the very things that come back to bite us in the face, or rain in my face, as it were? I had neglected her. But I learned my lesson. From that day forward, I became meticulous about repairing the car. Everything she said, I did. Everything that needed to be done, I was doing it. So what's this story really about? Is it about cars? Is it about maintenance? No. This story is about us. When I thought about this experience in my life, what it really made me think of are the people close to me. I thought about my wife, my kids, my parents, my siblings, my friends, my relatives. And I asked myself a couple of questions. I'm going to invite you to ask yourself the same question. Am I really giving every effort that I can to make sure that I'm taking care of these people? Am I giving honest and sincere appreciation for these people that matter to me? Am I really taking the time to show that I care? Raise your hand if you can say honestly, without a doubt, that you have every single day done everything you can to make sure that the people in your life are taken care of. Look around the room. None of our hands are up. It's hard. We're all so busy day to day with our jobs, our lives, our kids, and the routine of the week. You know, I'm going to share with you one of my greatest fears in life. One of my greatest fears is the feeling of regret. That feeling that your time is up. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Anyone ever heard of Bronnie Ware? Bronnie Ware was a nurse, and she worked in a hospice in, I believe it was Australia. And so she spent day in, day out with people at the end of their lives. And what she did was, in all of her conversations, she put them together in a book. And this book described what the greatest regrets people have in life. Do you know what the biggest regret was? Biggest regret was, I wish I had spent more time at work. I would wish I'd gone to the office more often. No, that's not what it is. The biggest regrets people have are about the people in their lives. I wish I'd spent more time with my family. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I would have taken the courage to express myself and to bring people around me closer. I don't claim to be an expert in relationships by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know this. If every single one of us took just one more minute every day, just one more action, one more conversation, one more touch, one more concern to the people we care about, every single one of us could be truly enjoying the ride of our lives. Madam Chair.